It is time for another episode of Broad Street and Beyond, where everything Philly sports and Central PA is in play. We leave those New York sports in the penalty box. And now, here's Chase and JT.
And a happy new week to everybody, and also a happy new year as well. We are welcoming JT back to the show. Sound check. No, not sound check. It's Broad Street and Beyond. Broad Street and Beyond. Broad Street and Beyond is on the air for the year of 2026. Brand new year, of course. Brand new episodes, brand new guests. We got a bunch of stuff to tackle here in the year of 2026. We couldn't be more happy to be back on the air with you guys right here on YouTube. We missed a lot of sports. JT, how was your holiday break, buddy?
Holiday break was terrific, my friend. It was restful. Just did some light traveling on Christmas Day, but overall it was pretty good. It's pretty relaxing, and the kids got a lot of good stuff. It was good to have a little time off. Got to do got to do the Stranger Things finale.
Of course, I knew it.
On New Year's Day. By the way, if you just proved that you were doing too many podcasts.
Yes.
You're introing the wrong one. I'm so glad to be chatting with you again, and it's good to be talking sports. I've had it, the holidays. Don't get me wrong. I love the holidays. I love getting in the Christmas spirit, but I'm ready to move forward. I'm ready to put all that stuff. My timeline has been filled with nothing but Stranger Things stuff, so I'm ready to.
It's time for a change.
It's time to flush that out of the system and get rolling with some Broad Street and Beyond again.
I was a little nervous. I didn't think you were going to join me because you probably were mad at me because we didn't do the podcast last week. We took that week off. We did the rock paper scissors to see if we would take a week off, and I wasn't sure if you were going to join me again. I'm glad to see you, man.
I was there. I was on the pod. Oh, that's right. We weren't supposed to. I was waiting for you, and you weren't there.
I know.
Why weren't you there?
That's why I'm surprised you're back with me. I can't believe you showed up. But I'm glad you did, my man. I'm glad you did.
Good to recharge the battery.
Yeah. It's good to be back here on Broad Street and Beyond. Just make sure, let's recap you. Like, subscribe, and share. That's the only way you get updated on all the current episodes of Broad Street and Beyond. Let's get right into it. 3 questions with JT to start things off in the year of 2026. First one, JT, real easy one. Did you stay up till midnight on New Year's Eve?
Absolutely we did. Yeah, we were over to a friend's house. Yes. We were over to a friend's house, and we hung out, we played games, we had some drinks, and we stayed to watch the ball drop. We didn't stay too much longer after that, maybe till about 12:30 or so, and then we hit the road. But no, we were there. We were there with our party hats on and our noisemakers.
Marathon man. I didn't think you were the guy that would stay up till midnight, but you shocked me there a little bit. Very nice to see. How about a New Year's resolution? You make any?
Yes, I did make a New Year's resolution, and it's to cut down on
this is gonna be
sugar snacks.
This is gonna be good.
Sugar snacks and fast food.
Yeah, all of that.
Well,
what are you gonna actually eat?
I'm not. I'm just gonna fast.
Yeah, I guess so. Apparently so.
I'm gonna go on a hunger strike. No, I'm going to try it for a month. I'm going to go a month at a time and see it, because if I say, I'm not going to do it for the whole year, that's just a recipe for disaster. So I'm going to try it for a couple of weeks, see how far I get, and more than likely you'll find me rocking back and forth in the corner, stuffing my face with Chick-fil-A or something like that.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, good for you, man. Healthier 2026 for JT. I like it, man. Third question, have you ever done a polar bear plunge?
I have not.
Me neither.
We used to have an organization here in the area that used to do a polar bear plunge, and they would always come in and record for it, and I was tempted a couple of times just to kind of see what it's like, because I hear it's
right.
Like it's a great way to start off the new year, and you come out
freeze
of there
your butt off.
Freeze your butt off, but. It's a good way. I guess you get refreshed, and it's a fresh start for the new year. But no, I have never bit the bullet, and I never went and did it.
Yeah, they just broke a record out in Washington. Like 5,000 people just did a polar bear plunge, broke a Guinness World Record. The water temperature, it was 43 degrees. No thanks. No thanks. All right, 3 questions with JT. That's done and dusted. Let's get into the sports. What do you think, JT?
Let's do it.
All right, we start off. We missed the ever popular and the battle for the Pinstripe Bowl at Yankee Stadium between Clemson and the Penn State Nittany Lions. The Nittany Lions came out on top 22-10. Not a high-scoring game, not a very exciting game because probably of the weather, but Grunkmeyer, who played his final game at the Penn State University, had a pretty stellar game, and overall, pretty decent game for the Penn State Nittany Lions and a lot of guys that needed to prove themselves maybe next year to Mr. Campbell, huh?
Yeah, it was pretty, obviously it was what it was. It was a 7-5 team against a 6-6 team, but I was really happy, honestly, for Terry Smith. You could see how much that meant to him to win that game, and the season, if you look at the season in broad view, it was a big disappointment based on what the expectations were.
Sure.
But I give Terry Smith a lot of credit for getting that season back on the rails after they had been 3-6. They finished the year with 4 straight wins, including the win in the Pinstripe Bowl. It was pretty much a makeshift offensive line, and they had a couple of young tailbacks in there because Katron Allen and Nick Singleton didn't play. Grunkenmeyer played pretty well. The defense stepped up. It was cool to see Dennis Sutton play in that game.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of good vibes coming out of that game. Again, you'll go back and you look and you'll say, 7-6. 5-10 years from now, someone will look back and say, they were 7-6. But if you look at how they arrived there and everything that went on during the season, it was cool to see them to end on a high note like that.
Yeah, it was neat to see Martin and Pena. They had some pretty big games for Penn State in that game. The running back and wide receiver, they played pretty decent. And Grunkmeyer, hate to see him leave. We'll get to that here shortly in the transfer portal, but he's leaving to go to Virginia Tech. But overall, pretty decent game for what it really was, the Pinstripe Bowl. And taking on Clemson, always good to see them beat those guys from Clemson and up at Yankee Stadium. So that was pretty incredible. One question I did have for you, and I don't know if you took notice to it in the telecast, that Matt Campbell was not at the game at all. I know his flight was canceled the day of. Were you surprised at all that Matt Campbell was not with the team that week during the whole week of the bowl festivities up there in New York at all?
Well, I think the weather just really played a factor in that. That's when we got, if you remember, the day after Christmas, we got that, around here, we got that basically what was an ice storm. And then I'm guessing, I think most of New York, or a good portion of New York, got a lot of snow out of that, and it just caused a huge disruption for flights. And because he was supposed to be, I believe they said that he was supposed to join the broadcast crew in the booth for a short time to talk about, Penn State and what his expectations were for the off season, and it just didn't happen. They mentioned that, so. Yeah, it would have been cool to see him there, but it was strictly weather related from what I gather.
Yeah, I was just shocked that he wasn't actually with the team maybe a couple days before, gearing up. I mean, a lot of those guys obviously are coming back, and to see some of those guys play, obviously in the last game of the season, but just from my standpoint, just a little shocking that Campbell wasn't there with the team a couple days before or gearing up, for next season. I saw the Michigan, their new head coach, he was at the bowl game, but I was surprised that he was flying in on the day of the bowl game, and he wasn't there, prior with the team.
Well, was he? Do we know if he was flying in the day of, or was he trying?
He was flying the day of. The day of, he was flying. That's according to the announcers. I mean, they said his flight was canceled the day of because of the weather, but it was the day of is what they said during the telecast.
So what are you trying to say, that he should be fired?
I'm just saying it's a little odd. You're a new coach. You're coming into Penn State. You should certainly be with the players a couple days before to kind of get the know, and also I know Terry Smith has been leading them the whole season, but I just thought it was a little bit awkward that Matt Campbell was not with the team, say several days before, or even taking part in the festivities and getting that camaraderie started a little bit early before we go into next season.
Well, I think my counter to that would be it's possible that he was maybe back in Iowa, maybe wrapping some things up there with the family and the move, and maybe maybe he wanted to be a little bit separated from the team. Maybe he didn't want to be a distraction and wanted to let it be Terry Smith's show to run, and just kind of let it be, completely his team for one more game before, Terry Smith moves into his new role, where I believe he's still going to coach the secondary. But that would be my take on it.
Sure.
I think if he could have been there, he would have been there. So, but it seems like they're hitting the ground running in the days past with the transfer portal and trying to get some recruits in for this upcoming season.
Yeah. So to answer your question, yes, I think he should be fired. Yes.
Okay.
Transfer portal. You want to go there? Let's go to the transfer portal.
Are we betting a smash burger?
Get out of here. I know that's where that was going. We're going right to the transfer portal. Transfer portal is pretty much hot right now with Penn State, not only Iowa State. Penn State now getting a lot of key players from Iowa State coming to the Pennsylvania State University. Vice versa, some guys from Penn State now taking the trek to either Virginia Tech or elsewhere. Your thoughts so far on the transfer portal, what Penn State's actually getting, what Penn State's giving up in the transfer portal as well. Just your thoughts there, JT, on that.
Well, I think the writing was on the wall with I think it was pretty it was almost the worst kept secret that Rocco Becht was
Sure.
probably going to end up as the quarterback of Penn State. I mean, that broke even beforehand, even before it became official that he was entering the transfer portal, and it wasn't hard to put two and two together. The fact that Matt Campbell came to Ohio State, Mauser, the offensive coordinator, following Matt Campbell up from Iowa State up to Penn State, and then the fact that that Rocco Becht entered the transfer portal, and then also the fact that there was, I guess, an outside rumor because Bo Perbula entered the transfer portal. I think it was pretty clear that Ethan Grunkemeyer was not going to be the quarterback next year, and that bore out. As far as the rest of the guys, it looked, they got obviously a lot of guys from Iowa State are following Matt Campbell up to Happy Valley. That's usually how it works. I mean, you saw when Penn State fired James Franklin, and James Franklin ended up getting hired at Virginia Tech. You saw a lot of guys that had previously been committed to Penn State were following James Franklin down to Blacksburg. So I think it's hard to parse. It's hard to parse for right now exactly what exactly Penn State is getting. It's probably a lot of depth guys, but I know they've gotten they got the one wide receiver
young guy,
Chase Sowell. He's going to be there. I think it's pretty promising. They got it looks like 18 new additions through the transfer portal. 28 players are going to be staying. They had 38 players that entered the transfer portal from Penn State. There's 22 seniors graduating. There's about 14 or 15 that haven't yet announced. So from what I read, that's about anywhere from 20 to 30 spots to get up to a roster of 105. I just saw that the Noah Rogers, another wide receiver, an NC State transfer, it looks like he's going to be on a visit to Penn State. He was a five-star recruit a couple of years ago. One of the intriguing names is this Keanu Williams, the defensive tackle from UCLA. He was kind of the first big name that wasn't somebody from Ohio State coming into to Happy Valley. So, they've got some promising names. It's just I think we got to kind of take, once it's all said and done, got to take a kind of digest everything and kind of see where everything flows. I mean, this is where the transfer portal really has its biggest impact because, I mean, Matt Campbell's starting from scratch, but I mean he's got a lot of resources that he didn't have at Iowa State, and now with the transfer portal, you can quickly fill a lot of gaps. You can't fill all the gaps, but you can fill a lot of them in the transfer portal. I mean, you look at what Curt Cignetti did with Indiana. He brought 20 of his players from JMU, and that's been a key in helping them become such a big resurgence, especially this year. So I'm intrigued and I'm optimistic by what Penn State's done in the transfer portal, but I guess we'll have to wait and see because you get these videos, and a lot of these guys. I mean, some of their tape. I looked at some of their tape, and it looks great. But you know, a lot of people look great on their highlight films. So I'm going to take a wait and see approach right now.
Yeah, it looks like they're getting their backup quarterback, too, that Alex Mansky from Iowa State. He's also committed to Penn State, but it's always intriguing, and this situation is probably different than some with, having the coach leave midseason and have a highly touted coach at Iowa State like Campbell coming to Penn State. You think there's any negative effects that this may have on either of these teams, whether it be Iowa State or Penn State, of these guys trying to gel with some of these other guys that are coming in?
Well, I think that's what spring practice is for. I think they've got a lot of time to sort that out, and that's Matt Campbell. That's what he's getting paid to do. So that's his job to help all those pieces gel together. I think the fact that I'm more intrigued about how the coaching. You've got some guys that came with Matt Campbell to Iowa State. You've got some guys from Penn State that are being retained, with Terry Smith being one. The hope is that all of those guys gel together and that staff kind of gets on the same page. I'm just as intrigued by that as far as how all the players and all the pieces on the roster gel together as well.
Yeah, where the pieces fall, it's going to be interesting for Penn State, also Iowa State, and also for James Franklin down at Virginia Tech here next season. So we'll see what happens there. As far as the college football playoffs, that's now down to 4 teams. Not 4 teams, I think, that people assumed to be in the Final Four, with the exception of maybe Indiana. We now have Indiana, we got Oregon, we got Miami, and we got Ole Miss, JT. Some good games over the weekend during the New Year's Day holiday. What are you seeing in these college football playoffs? I mean, 4 teams that either one of those teams could win the national championship, and you got Miami in there as a team that kind of was a team that nobody thought would be in the Final Four whatsoever, and here they are. They're going to take on Ole Miss.
Well, Miami has a really dominant defensive front. That was one game that I was intrigued about. I was in a text chain with the Text Bros, and one of them told me that he thought that Miami could give Ohio State trouble just because of how good they are at pressuring the quarterback. And I think the blueprint was out on that a little bit. If you look at what Indiana did and putting a lot of pressure on Ohio State and their quarterback in the Big Ten championship game, so the blueprint was there, and Miami was able to duplicate that in the college football playoff in the quarterfinals. So that was I wasn't as surprised to see that. The one that surprised me a little bit, I didn't think that Ole Miss would be able to
beat Georgia
to sling it out with Georgia like they did. Of course, that's the one game that I didn't stick around and watch. I watched a good portion of the other games. Indiana looks like, I mean, they're clicking
good
on all cylinders. I mean, I know this wasn't like a top-notch Alabama team, but it's still Alabama, and I know they had 3 losses, but Alabama is still a dangerous team, and Indiana just, I mean, they took them
destroyed
to the woodshed. They really humbled them, and boy, I'm really excited to see this Indiana-Oregon game. Indiana won the game in the regular season out in Eugene, and I really like the way Indiana's playing. I know it's tough to beat the same team twice in a year, but I really think they can do it.
What do you think on the other side? You think the Ole Miss is going to take on Miami, and you think Ole Miss can do it against Miami? Or do you think Miami can pull that upset against Ole Miss too?
I don't know. Miami looks like, I don't know. My gut tells me Miami. That I feel like they're peaking at the right time.
Right.
I got to do a little bit more digging into that one, but that one intrigues me as well.
It's kind of funny. Somebody actually brought up that both of them have chips on their shoulders. And Ole Miss, of course, with the Lane Kiffin issue, they got a chip on their shoulder. They got something to prove. Miami's always had something to prove down there at the U, so both teams pretty much having something to prove, and I thought that was quite interesting when a commentator brought that up during the telecast as well.
Yeah, how about the Lane train left Ole Miss, and they haven't missed a beat, right?
Yeah,
They're down to the Final Four.
Lane Kiffin leaving maybe only lit a fire under Ole Miss, and I think that's probably the case here with Ole Miss. I mean, they got something to prove, and I think they could get it done. Your prediction, who do you think is going to go to the national championship?
I'm going to say it's going to be Indiana, and I'm going to say the U. I'm going to say Indiana and Miami.
Indiana and Miami, yep.
So
I think Indiana's going to take Oregon for sure. Yeah, I think so.
So what happens with Lane Kiffin? Do all the hot women that were in Ole Miss, do they follow him down to LSU or what?
Did you happen to catch, and I'm sure you did, during the basketball game, the women's basketball game, and Lane Kiffin came out. I don't know if it was, I guess it was the athletic director there. She's a little bit older. And people put the comments of saying that's probably the oldest woman that Lane Kiffin is going to be walking out. They walked out basically hand in hand out to the out to the court during the women's basketball game. So that's quite interesting that you do say that, JT. But we'll see what takes place with Lane Kiffin at his new home.
He's a charmer, isn't he?
That's what they say. That's what they say, JT. Switching gears from college football, who do you think's going to win the national championship? We got to get to that before we even get that any further here.
Oh wait, so I said Indiana, Miami,
yep.
And I'll stick with Cignetti. I'll say the Hoosiers.
Yeah, I think Indiana's just too stacked on offense, stacked on defense too. I think they're going to be too much for anybody that they're going to play. Even if they play Miami, Ole Miss on that other side, I don't think anybody's got a chance against Indiana with their firepower that Mendoza brings in the offense and everything else that they got. They look pretty darn good. Over to the NFL, the Philadelphia.
Hold on a second. Plus,
we're not going smash burgers.
No. Hold on. No. If Indiana win, of course Indiana's going to win because.
Right.
Then us as Penn State fans can agonize over the fact that Penn State was
lost to the national champs.
That close to beating Indiana.
Yeah, that'd be good to see though. A Big Ten team finally winning the national championship, other than Ohio State or Michigan. That'd be good to see. I'd be happy for that.
It would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I'd be happy for that for sure. Over to the National Football League, it did not end well for the Philadelphia Eagles as they took on the Washington Commanders, and you had the backups in there. I mean, they played a decent game with Tanner McKee. He wasn't all it was all cracked up to be. I mean, he doesn't have that much time in the National Football League. The experience behind him as well. The offense only had a couple of starters that played. You didn't have Barkley, didn't have A.J. Brown in the game. Losing to the Commanders now, taking that third playoff spot in the NFC. What would you see from the Eagles here on this season finale, the regular season finale?
Oh, I forgot to. I was going to put Tanner McKee as my background, and I forgot to do it. Oh,
yeah, you can change it now.
No,
change it
it's
now. Come on.
Too long. No, it's going to be too awkward to do it while we're doing the pod. Oh man,
that's what we're all about, man. It's all about awkwardness.
Like, because everybody's always like, they got to play Tanner McKee instead of Jalen Hurts. Well,
you should. You see those comments? Those people that thought that Tanner McKee was better than Jalen Hurts, or he was just going to come out and light it up. I mean, he doesn't have that much playing time in the NFL. For anybody to even imagine that Tanner McKee would come out, lights out, with the offense that he had, you obviously don't watch football. You obviously do not watch football.
Well, I guess the counter is going to be, he was out there throwing to Darius Cooper and Calcaterra and who else was out there?
Devontae Smith was out there for a little bit, yeah.
For a little bit, until he got his 1,000 yards, and then they. Here's a scenario. Could you imagine if this would have happened? That they're following the. As the Eagles are down 24-17 late in the game,
right?
Kevin Harlan is like basically calling two games at once. He's talking about, as the Eagles are driving down the field, he's talking about how Detroit is lining up for a field goal.
The Bears game, yeah.
Yeah. So could you imagine if word, I'm sure word got to Nick Sirianni that, hey, the Lions just won the game, and then out of nowhere, Jalen Hurts and Devontae and Saquon, they all come into the game to go to score the tying touchdown and then go for two to win it and get the 2 seed. But anyway, it was the backups. I'm honestly fine with them playing the backups, but even so, the game was there to be won. They had a turnover and downs in the red zone, and then a really bad interception, I think, at the goal line because I'm thinking I guess McKee and Jahan Dotson weren't on the same page on the one route, and they had to, the depth wasn't there. Obviously, that defense, those linemen were gassed. I will say this: I think that the depth on the defensive line for the Eagles is pretty good. The depth at linebackers is pretty good, but man, their secondary depth is terrible.
Hey, what'd you think of that guy named Ringo? What'd you think of his performance?
That was painful.
And he didn't even get cut. I mean, I thought for sure he was going to get cut on Monday. Like, I mean, how many penalties can you take? How many penalties can you cause and make it so obvious to the refs out there with the pass interferences and everything else? He was terrible in that game. Absolutely terrible.
Did you see the play where Josh Johnson, he ended up scrambling for a touchdown where he was scrambling off to his left, and Kelee Ringo was right there, like he would have had him in the open field, and then Ringo just turns around. No. He had him, like he was there. He could have made an open field tackle, but instead Ringo just turns around, goes back in the end zone, and starts covering a receiver. Josh Johnson.
Oh, yeah, and he walks right in. Oh, yeah. Oh, my God,
okay.
yes.
All right. I'll just walk right in and score.
And the announcers picked that out immediately. Like he literally went back. There was nobody in front of Johnson at all. I know exactly what you're talking about. I mean, you and I could have tackled him, and he probably and they made the comment he could have lost yards too if he would have actually probably came out of the end zone and tackled Johnson.
Dude, Ross Tucker was doing the color for that game. He was so pissed.
He was going crazy.
You could hear him, like, as Josh Johnson's running down, you could hear him going, oh, absolutely ridiculous. Like, he was over Kelee Ringo in that game. It was pretty fun. It was funny to watch.
He should have been cut on Monday. He should have been cut on Monday. Do you not agree? They should have cut him.
Well, they're not going to cut him now. It's the end
too
of the
bad.
season.
Come on.
He's a backup.
We need him for the postseason. Go somewhere else. Go somewhere else and make that play.
He's a backup, but we better hope
we might need him. We better
hope that Adoree Jackson or nobody in the secondary gets hurt. Because, oh my gosh, if they have to rely on him in a playoff game, they're going to be toast. He's that guy that, like, you know how you've seen these games where, like, a guy gets hurt and then the backup comes in and then they immediately pick on that guy. That's Kelee Ringo.
That's what they were doing all game. Yeah, that's what they were doing all game. When he was making those mistakes and making those penalties, they kept throwing to him all day long. That's who they were throwing to. But we'll talk about the Eagles and the playoff picture coming up here in just a little bit. Let's tackle the Steelers-Ravens game, the battle for the AFC North. It was a close game. I mean, the Ravens had that whole entire first half. You went into halftime thinking, oh, man, the Steelers do not look good. Steelers came out in the second half, played some pretty decent football, came out with the win. It actually came down to what it shouldn't come down to is a field goal, which was missed, went wide right. And the Pittsburgh Steelers are finally going to the playoffs and take the AFC North.
Well, isn't that kind of what the Steelers always do? Like, they're just sort of the... Like, just when you think you've got, like...
They're done?
Just when they zig, just when you think they're going to zig, they zag. I mean, if you think about it, if you look at the last 3 weeks of their season, they have that game in Detroit where they're doing next to nothing for most of the first half. They get that wacky touchdown pass from Rodgers to Kenny Gainwell as he's, like, laying on the ground. He catches it, gets up, untouched, and scores. They win that game, and you're thinking they are completely in the driver's seat. Then they do what a lot of people thought they might do. They went to Cleveland and they laid an egg, which put Week 18 in play against the Ravens. They're doing not much of anything in the first half, and then, you know, all of a sudden the Ravens come to life. Lamar Jackson just kind of, you know, comes back from.
Had a heck of a game. He had a heck of a game.
Throws 2 bombs to Zay Flowers, and then I don't get, like, I really thought that, like, you know, with Rodgers, like, with no DK Metcalf, they lost the other tight end, Darnell Washington, for the season. It just didn't seem like he had many weapons to work with. I mean, he's, like, relying on, like, Scotty Miller and Marquez Valdez-Scantling, but they found a way to get it done, and then you think, like, this is the way the Steelers win, and then what happens, like, the Ravens go down, they get that big pass to Likely, and you think, 44-yard field goal. Like, what a heartbreaking way for the Steelers to lose. And instead it's like, Luke misses, goes wide right. I mean, I kind of
30 of 33 all season long he was. 30 of 33. The guy's pretty much accurate all season long.
Yeah, I kind of feel bad for him. I don't know if,
young guy.
You know, I know it's hard to feel bad for kickers, but I feel bad for that guy because, I mean, you know, like, he's probably going to be replaying that in his head over and over. You know, I hate for guys that miss a kick like that, where it's just like the game rests on their foot. I know they get paid a lot of money to just kick, but still, I that would be a tough one. If I were in his shoes, that would be a tough one for me to get over.
And they actually said, too, it was one of the very first games that the Steelers-Ravens played in an elimination game of one of them going to be sent home at the end of the game. And ultimately, the Ravens were sent home, and maybe they could have used Tucker back. Maybe Tucker could have came back and kicked that field goal for him. But it's like you said, the young guy, I mean, you feel bad for him kicking that field goal. I mean, he's got a lot of expectation there in Baltimore with being just such a young guy. He's been accurate all season long. But, hey, man, when it comes down to the playoff time and all that pressure's on you, he was probably put in a tough situation, and you hate to see it come down to that, but that's what it came down to for Baltimore.
Our poor buddy Noah in the office on Monday. Of course, everyone was saying, "Hey,
did he actually show up?"
No, he did, but everyone was like, "Oh, Justin Tucker would have made that kick."
That's right. Also, in other news, as we were just coming on the podcast here, JT, as we both saw, and I mean, we kind of mentioned this about 2-3 weeks ago. If this was the case that the Ravens don't make the playoffs, Harbaugh could be on his way out, the longest tenured head coach in the NFL. And he's been fired in Baltimore.
Yeah, I guess I'm not too surprised. I don't know. It's weird. It's like part of you is surprised just because he's been there for so long. You know what I mean? He's there's a lot of longevity there, and I just
what have you done for me lately? Attitude,
yeah,
I guess.
I just there was something off about that whole season, and I attributed it mostly to the fact that Lamar Jackson was never really healthy, but you felt like something was going to give here with this season. I mean, it never really. They got off to such a horrible start. They kind of got it back on track once Lamar came back, but he was never quite right. They got it down to Week 18 to make the playoffs, but I just felt like something had to give with that team at the end of the season if they didn't make the playoffs. And you think, okay, well, what's going to give? Is it going to be Lamar Jackson or is it going to be John Harbaugh? I'm sure that was a pretty easy decision. I mean, maybe they considered, but I mean, I think you got to think that you've got, with Derrick Henry and Zay Flowers, and I know they had a lot of injuries on defense this year. That certainly hampered them. I got to think that a healthy Lamar Jackson next year, and I think the time had come to go in a different direction. I mean, John Harbaugh did a really nice job while he was there. They won a Super Bowl. They had been to a couple of AFC Championship games. They won a bunch of division titles. They were in the mix a lot of years.
Right.
But again, at some point, I think maybe the message just gets a little stale. I think we talked about this on the pod a couple of weeks ago with, when Andy Reid was the coach of the Eagles. He was there for a long, long time. And those last 2 years as Eagles head coach were really dry. And I think, the message got stale, and it was time to move on. So it'll be interesting to track what happens here over the next couple of months to see who ends up at the helm next year in Baltimore.
John Harbaugh getting fired from Baltimore, but I don't think it's going to take him long to find a new position in the National Football League at all, JT, with all the firings that have taken place here at the end of the regular season. I think John Harbaugh will be able to find a job real quick in the NFL.
Yeah, I think he might let it. I think he might let it simmer for a little bit. I mean, there's jobs that are going to be open. Obviously, the Cardinals fired Jonathan Gannon. Raheem Morris is out in Atlanta. What's the other one? There was like 4 that. Obviously, the Raiders got rid of Pete Carroll.
Yep.
And so, there's going to be jobs open if he really wants to coach. I'm sure he'll be at the top of a lot of teams' lists. But he signed a 3-year deal. He's under contract, or he was supposed to be under contract through 2028. Maybe he just wants to let it simmer for a little bit and get paid, and then maybe get back into it. He's not getting any younger, but I'm going to guess he's probably still going to want to coach. I don't know. Maybe he'll join his brother out in L.A. Who knows?
Possibly. Yeah, we'll see if that move pays off for the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, I don't know if that was a real smart move on their part, getting rid of their probably their longest tenured head coach in Baltimore Ravens history, and it's what have you done for me lately? And getting ousted from the playoffs didn't help his cause here as he get ousted by the AFC North rivals, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's go over the playoff bracket real quick here, JT, before we hop into some hockey. I'm going to go over the games. You tell me who's going to win these games, all right?
But based on the line or just straight up?
Straight up. Just straight up. Okay. All right, here's the one of the games. Green Bay, the 7th seed, taking on the Bears, the number 2 seed in the NFC.
Bears.
On Saturday. Then we're going to go over the Saturday games. LA Rams, 5 seed, taking on the number 4 seed, Carolina.
I'm going to say Rams, but sometimes everybody thinks that, they're playing the 8 and 9 teams. Sometimes those games can be a little funny. I remember several years ago, the Seahawks won the division with a record of 7 and 9. I forget what year this was, and they were at home against the Saints, and they ended up beating the Saints even though they had a losing record. But I'm going to say Rams.
The Birds on Sunday, the 3rd seed, taking on the number 6 seed, the San Francisco beat-up defense 49ers.
You know what? There's a part of me that really wants to say the 49ers,
yeah, I know.
but
yeah, I think you and me both.
I think it's going to be a close game, but I'm going to say the Eagles find a way to win.
Yeah, I think when it comes down to, I mean, they have a lot of injuries on that Niners side of the defense, and if the Eagles offense can come out fully charged after those guys sitting out the game against Washington and have a good game, I think they might roll over that defense against San Francisco.
But you never know because, even fully healthy, that offense goes to lunch for 2 hours, and then they come back and they come back for their lunch break, and then maybe now they score.
Maybe we'll play this time.
Yeah,
no kidding.
I don't know.
The number 7 seed LA Chargers taking on the number 2 seed New England Patriots.
I like the Patriots. I like the Patriots in that one. I think I like the way New England plays. I really like Drake May, and I'm going to say the Pats at home.
Yeah, Patriots look real good. The number 6 seed Buffalo taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. The surprise, I think, of the AFC. They're the 3rd seed in the AFC.
Yeah, Jacksonville. I think Jacksonville is. Boy, there's a 6-3 that I could definitely see where the 6 wins it. Buffalo's a little bit different on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Josh Allen is slightly banged up. Jacksonville has a pretty decent run defense. What's the line on that game?
It's Jacksonville plus 1.5.
So they're a 1.5 point dog at home.
Yep.
Then I definitely let me take a look and see if it's a little different on. Buffalo minus 1.5. Yeah, then I definitely like the Bills then in that game.
Taking the Bills. All right, the final game, which will be a Monday night game. Keep that in mind. If you're a Steelers fan, it's a Monday night game. The 5 seed Houston Texans taking on the number 4 seed, the Pittsburgh Steelers in Pittsburgh.
So let's do it this way. Let's kind of think. let's look at the trend of what the Steelers have done. Okay.
Okay.
All right, so they've always lost when you think they're going to win. So let's do this together.
Okay.
What do you think what does your gut tell you is going to happen in that game? Do you think the Steelers are going to win or lose?
I think it being the playoffs, you got Aaron Rodgers. I mean, it could be Aaron Rodgers' final season. I mean, I don't know if he's going to come back again after this season, but I would say the Steelers actually finally get over that hump and get a playoff win on Monday night.
Okay, so that means they're going to lose because we have not been able to figure them out the whole year. When they look like they're going to be put down, they come back up, and when it looks like they're going to lose to Detroit, they beat Detroit. When it looks like they're going to beat Cleveland, they lose to Cleveland. When it looks like they've got nothing left to beat Baltimore, they beat Baltimore.
Man, this is a long prediction here, man. I mean,
yes.
This is going on forever.
Well, I said I think Houston's going to win because we think the Steelers are going to win. That means they're going to lose.
I'm sticking with the Steelers. I think the Steelers are going to win. I think the Steelers are going to win. Switching gears over to the National Hockey League, the Washington Capitals Kind of not doing so good here in that Metro Division. They came into the game against the Chicago Blackhawks, losing 10 of their last 14. Then they lost that game in a shootout, so losing 11 of their last 15. Had a real good game the other night as they took on Anaheim, scored 7 goals. An unlikely source got a hat trick in that game. Ovechkin with 2 goals as well. Your thoughts on the Capitals of late?
Yeah, they've been a little uneven. It looked like they were one of the teams that had it figured out for a while, and then they, over the high. I remember when they lost that home and home, both ends of the home and home with the Red Wings. The loss to the Blackhawks. I mean, part of that is they're just not very good in shootouts, but you would think that they would have to go to a shootout to beat the Blackhawks. They. Was it Sordiff that got the hat trick last night?
Sordiff, yep. He got the hat trick. He had 2 assists in that game. Also, Connor McMichael, 4 assists in that game. Charlie Lindgren made 41 saves in that game. Most shots that Washington has given up in a game this season was that game. Actually, there was 41 shots on goal. Lindgren obviously made 37 of those saves in that game, but giving up 41 shots. They're also without their top scorers right now, too. They're without Protas. They're without Tom Wilson as well.
Yeah.
Dubois is still out, too, so they're missing their top 3 guys right now, and they just got to find a way with the guys that they have. Who's going to score night in, night out, and some of those guys that you're seeing, like the Connor McMichaels of the world, even Ethan Frank's got to step up in those situations, and some of those guys that are on that 3rd and 4th line got to really, really step it up.
Yeah, I think they really from a defensive standpoint, like as far as defensive forwards, they really miss Pierre-Luc Dubois in that role. I think he does a really good job. Protas, I've been a fan of since the beginning. I think. He's a big center. He drives the net. He's tough to move from that area. I think he's loaded with talent. So hopefully he's not out too long. Tom Wilson, I mean, we've talked about him before. He's like the lightning rod for them. So him being out of the lineup certainly doesn't help. And again, we're still in this like pretty much bunched up Metro Division. There's a little bit of space now, a little bit, not a lot. There's a little bit of space now between first and last in the division, but still, anybody in that division could go on a run and work themselves right back into it. For instance, look at a team like the Penguins, who we're going to talk about here in just a minute.
Yeah, the Penguins are looking real good. Just to wrap up the Capitals, even in that game, I mean, that game had a little bit of everything. Had a couple of penalty shots in there, had a couple of fights in that game. At one point in time, the Capitals almost lost that game. They were up 5-1, and it was eventually 5-4. Anaheim came back and scored 3 consecutive goals. So the Washington Capitals finally getting the victory, first victory of 2026 for the Washington Capitals. On the other hand, like you mentioned, the Penguins are just continuing to roll here into the new year and also at the end of 2025. They're actually starting to look real good, and we talked about it before. When Sidney Crosby starts to score goals, starts to get those assists, plays in, night out, and the way he's been playing at his age, I mean, the possibilities are starting to be endless here for Pittsburgh if he starts to take his game to the next level, which he seems to be doing here the past couple of games.
Yeah, they're for the most part. Now I know Malkin is still out, if I'm not mistaken, so he's still out. So that's a big loss. But they're getting pretty healthy everywhere else. Where Ricard Raquel has been back, so he's been helping out. Justin Brazeau, who we've talked about before, he got off to a mega hot start to begin the year, and then he was out for a while. They made that trade with the Blue Jackets to bring in Chinnikov, and I think Ben Kindle, he's another young guy that they're relying on. Brian Rust has been playing well lately.
Yeah, been playing real good. Yeah,
it's funny that they've won like 5 in a row, but I think maybe they have tempered expectations in the sense that it was just a little bit ago where they had lost, like where they were winless in like 10 of 11 games.
Yep.
Now all of a sudden they've played themselves right back into it where I feel like every week when we talk about like the Flyers, the Caps, and the Penguins this year, they've all taken turns like sinking to the bottom, rising to the middle, getting up towards the top, maybe going down towards the middle. And I think I'm guessing it's going to be like this. I mean, we're only, a month or so away from the Olympics. it'd be interesting to see if we're still this bunched together once they hit the Olympic break. I mean, because of the Olympics, you have this really condensed schedule. You know, you're playing a lot more games in a tighter time frame. But it'll be interesting to see if everybody is still bunched up like they are going into the Olympic break, and then it'll be like, you know, coming out of the Olympic break, it's going to be like gangbusters.
Yeah, it's going to be a dogfight. I mean, it's been a dogfight up to this point. Raquel, he had that big goal in the third period, 14 seconds left, sent it to overtime. I mean, anytime that you can show that resilience of the Pittsburgh Penguins, they showed it in this one, being down by 3, coming back to win. It shows a lot, and also now with their 5th in a row, they moved to 20, 12, and 9 on the year. 4th place in the Metro Division, so they are playing well. Switch gears to the Philadelphia Flyers. JT, they've been kind of up and down, but they're playing some really decent hockey of late as well, as the Flyers just beat up Edmonton on Saturday, get a road win there to wrap up their road trip. Flyers win 5-2. Denver Barkey gets his first NHL goal there, which was nice to see. Up next for them is later on tonight. They take on Anaheim to start a 4-game home stretch. What do you think of the Flyers of late? Been playing pretty well, that 3rd and 4th line. They've been starting to contribute too.
Yeah, Denver Barkey has given them a real jolt, and I think he's going to make it hard for them to send him down. And I mean, I don't know at this point, unless he would really go off the cliff, I can't imagine a scenario where they would send him down. I mean, he just brings so much energy. You know, that the fact that I think if he continues to do this, he's going to get more and more ice time. And some of these guys maybe have been put on notice that there could be other guys in the lineup that are going to get less and less ice time in favor of Denver Barkey. That goal he had in Edmonton, that was fantastic. I mean, he was back there in his own zone. He made a nice little pass in the defensive zone to help get the breakout. He sprints up ice. He goes to the net, and he takes the centering pass and tips it home to get a goal. That win over Edmonton was
impressive.
It renewed my optimism because that was a real up and down road trip. They started off in Chicago. They played okay against a team that was pretty banged up. And they found a way to win. Then they had a real clunker against Seattle. Got off to a really bad start in Vancouver, but ended up righting the ship. Michkov had a real good game in that one. And then the next night on New Year's Eve, they laid another egg against Calgary, and you're thinking, oh. But the fact that they could get that win in Edmonton meant a 3-2 road trip coming home tonight against Anaheim. Now Michkov, I guess, took a shot off the foot. It looks like he's not going to be available tonight. I don't know how long-term of an injury that is. Hopefully he's not out of the lineup too long. So they're not going to have him, and I thought he played really well on that road trip. So, again, the Flyers are kind of 4th there. Now, one thing the Flyers have, they've got like 3 games in hand on, I think it's either the Caps or the Penguins, and 1 game in hand on just about everyone else. And even so, they're only like 4 points behind the Hurricanes. So, it'll be interesting to see. It'd be nice if the Flyers can, and there's going to be some buzz in the building tonight because Cutter Gauthier comes back. Remember, Cutter Gauthier was a Flyers draft pick. Decided he didn't want to play for the organization.
Yeah, for Philadelphia.
Basically forced the Flyers to trade him to Anaheim. That game was huge last year when he came, and the Flyers played a really good game. So it'll be interesting to see if there's some extra buzz in the building tonight for that game.
Might be somebody wanting to stir it up with him later tonight during that hockey game to see him back on the other side. But that was a good game. I mean, anytime you can take it to Edmonton the way Philadelphia did, getting up 3 goals, 3-0 in that game to start out. Michkov, unfortunate for him because he was having a couple of good games. He strung together there, having some real strong games from him, and for the Flyers to do what they did to Edmonton. And they handled McDavid. They also handled Draisaitl as well in that game too. So I mean, they've been able to handle the big guns for Edmonton each time they played them this season.
Yeah, I think so, and I was really encouraged. I think the Flyers, from a lot of stuff I read, I think the Flyers had maybe a little more depth across all 4 lines. But sometimes Edmonton is with McDavid and Draisaitl. Those two are so dangerous and they're so fast that when they get on the power play, they're almost automatic. And they're one of those teams that they can put some pressure on you with those guys and cause you to make mistakes. The Flyers jumped out to a 3-0 lead in that game, and they made like one mistake, and boom, McDavid was off on a breakaway, and he sniped one past Vladar.
Yeah.
And their second goal, when they made it 3-2, came off the power play. It was like a bomb from the slot by Bouchard. And then I thought, man, it was 3-2 going into the third period. But man, when Nick Seeler got that shot from back of the blue line to it was like a seeing eye shot to get its way into the net. You're breathing a big sigh of relief there.
Yeah, the Metro Division is going to be something to watch. I mean, it's been something to watch up to this point, but probably the most exciting division right now in the National Hockey League. Over to the American Hockey League, Bears were struggling up until they got to this weekend. They lost 4 straight. They lost to the Phantoms on New Year's Eve, getting shut out 3-0. Then they came home to the Giants Center to take on Rockford, which they haven't played since 2018, and complete the weekend sweep. Not only was it knit cap night on Saturday night, it was also the big old teddy bear toss night on Sunday, but 2 solid games over the weekend for the Chocolate and White against the Rockford Ice Hogs this weekend.
Yeah, they needed those in the worst way. They came, I think the last time we did a pod, they had come off the 3-1 loss in Wilkes-Barre Scranton, so we were kind of intrigued to see what they would do coming out of the holiday break, and it just that game at Wilkes-Barre Scranton was just, I mean, that was a disaster. The 5-goal first period. That was, I think, Bjorklund was in goal that night, if I'm not mistaken. He really struggled. And Wilkes-Barre Scranton was just all over them. The Phantoms have been playing really well as of late, but it was really nice to see what happened last weekend. Even the falling behind against Rockford in the Saturday night game, but I thought getting that goal right at the end of the second period to get it to 4-3, I thought was really huge for, I think, maybe for their psyche and from a momentum standpoint, because they carried that over into the third period, getting the game tying goals. I can't remember who had the tying goal. I know Aaron Ness had
on Saturday night.
On Saturday, yeah.
On Saturday, that would have been
Aaron Ness had the game winner. I know that. We should have this stuff on recall. This should be
Cam Allen with the power play tie-in with the power play tying goal in Saturday's game. Yeah, yep.
That's right. It was Allen had a blast from the top, and Ness was over like around the left circle, I think.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. So that was cool to see them rally, and then it was cool that they didn't waste any time scoring, so that the teddy bear toss could commence on Sunday. So you were up there. I'm sure that was a pretty cool atmosphere.
I got to tell you, I mean, each and every single year that they do the teddy bear toss up at the Giant Center, I mean, it was a packed house. I mean, there was not an empty seat in the house. And if you could just bottle all of the energy before the teddy bear toss in that arena of the people and their anticipation of throwing these stuffies onto the hockey rink, like, you could just feel it. It felt like a playoff atmosphere before the game even started, with everybody's teddy bears lined up. They had them lined up in the suites. They had them up on the second level. It was standing room only. It took 2 minutes and 55 seconds for Louis Belpedio to put the goal in the net, but I'm telling you what, like, it's amazing, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but you have all that anticipation up until that first goal. Once they get that first goal, it sucks all the air out of the arena. Like, it takes it all out of the arena after all those teddy bears are thrown on the ice. It's crazy.
The delay? What was the delay?
The delay was about 45 minutes, I believe it was.
Oh, my goodness.
I'll tell you what, man, I got plunked several times by a couple of big stuffy animals, some big dinosaurs, some big bears. There was a big frog. They had a big unicorn, one of these. I mean, it's just an atmosphere that you just cannot miss. And we'll put some pictures up here that I took of the game here during the podcast that you'll see. But, I mean, it is a pretty incredible scene in Hershey to see 81,000 plus stuffed animals being tossed onto the ice. The Bears players were hamming it up. I mean, you had Protas jumping in the pile. You had Belpedio jumping into the pile. You had both goalies. You had Stevenson and Gibson just enjoying themselves out there. They took a team picture with all the stuffed animals, and ultimately it was good. Them, with the long break, the long layoff, they came out, still played a very consistent hockey game, but it is quite the scene to see for that teddy bear toss. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I think it was good good to get it out of the way. Obviously, good that they started it at 3:00. I'm guessing is that why they started it so early, just in case, because of they figured.
Yeah, and the game started right around 10 after 3 because it was a televised game. But I mean, so, I don't know how some of those people were going to sit in their seats with some of the Bears that they had. I mean, they were bigger than probably me and you combined, JT, when we would stand up, and they were literally, they couldn't even see with these teddy bears that they were holding in their laps. But if you've never been to a teddy bear toss in Hershey, it is something you absolutely need to see just one time, for sure.
Well, like I said, it was good for them. Good they got it out of the way early, and they got the win. You know, they got a pretty comfortable win at that, 5-2. So we'll see. They've got, what is it? Cleveland comes in for a pair this weekend.
GC, yeah.
Saturday and Sunday. 7:00 and probably 5:00 coming up. So we'll see if they can keep it going. It's a 5-game homestand, I believe, right?
Yeah. And one thing, too, I mean, we've talked about it. Derek King has been preaching them just putting together 60-minute hockey games, and I think this is probably the first time all season long where the back-to-back games against Rockford, which Rockford's not a very good team, but they still played them tough, played them rough. Very physical first game on Saturday. There was a lot of fights, a lot of big hits in that game as well. But both those games, they played a solid 60 minutes of hockey. And if they can continue that and get the offense that they got in both those games, they'll be just fine. But I don't think they can keep up that consistent pace all season long.
Yeah, Sam Bitten dropped the gloves on Saturday, and who was the other guy?
Dalton Smith. Dalton Smith had a scuffle that the guy had absolutely zero chance of winning. He had absolutely zero chance of winning that fight against Dalton Smith. But it's good to see Chocolate and White back, hopefully on the winning side of things. We'll see what they do over the weekend against Cleveland. To wrap up the podcast, JT, we always go to our ever-exciting Philadelphia 76ers, losing in overtime last night to the Denver Nuggets, 125-124. The Denver Nuggets starting lineup didn't even see the court, but the Sixers somehow managed to lose that one last night.
They are the ultimate, they're the ultimate.
Debbie Downers.
Yeah, never get emotionally invested in the Sixers. I mean, just approach the Sixers from a pure entertainment standpoint.
Yeah.
That they are always going to be fun to watch and always going to have some level of excitement. But man, they're gonna rip your heart out. They just before they went on that road trip, they lose at home to the Brooklyn Nets. They start off the road trip by losing at Chicago, that's the second time where they petered out down the stretch again in the fourth quarter in Chicago. So they lose that game to the Bulls, knowing that they had no shot to beat the Thunder the Sunday after Christmas.
Yeah, you called that.
Right, and then you're like, oh my goodness, they beat Memphis, they beat Dallas, they beat the Knicks in the Garden.
NBA Cup champs twice.
Yes,
they beat them twice
in the Garden. Yes, and then they come back and they're playing the Nuggets at home, who are without Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, Christian Brown,
keep going,
Aaron Gordon,
yep.
Tim Hardaway Jr. off the bench, and
breaks my heart.
I mean, they had a chance. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, come on now, you can't lose that game.
Yeah,
didn't Denver play the night before too?
Yeah. I think once the Sixers got to get that consistency, you know, with Paul George being back now in the mix, they got Embiid who's playing well. He had 30+ points in that game last night too. I mean, you can't fault Maxey. I mean, he's scoring 30+ each night. He had 28 last night. Edgecombe's been playing well. Even their bench has been playing well. It's like you said. I mean, I don't think the Sixers are going to compete for any type of NBA championship this year, but they're making each game, night in and night out, exciting each time that they come to the floor. I mean, they could be down by 20. They come back, take the lead. Then they may be down again by 20. They'll come back again, maybe come in within 1 or 2 points again. But it is exciting basketball to watch. if you are a Philadelphia 76ers fan that's merely just watching them to win games and win it all, it's not going to happen this year. But to see what they are doing with some of the young talent that they do have, not only off the bench, but with seeing VJ Edgecombe come out every single night and to play the way he's been playing, it's been pretty exciting to watch for sure.
I had to look it up. So I was right. They did play on Sunday night. The Nuggets lost in Brooklyn by 12 in a game Jamal Murray played. So they decided to sit him on a back-to-back night, and the Sixers still found a way to lose to that roster that the Nuggets put out there. But to your point, yes, VJ Edgecombe, it's been really cool to see him get better. Remember, he got off to that really hot start at the beginning of the year, and then he kind of tailed off. But he was it took him a little while to get going last night. He didn't do a whole lot in the first three quarters. He really picked it up in the fourth. But it's cool to see it looks like his confidence level is rising. So I'm really excited about what he could look like the second half of the season, obviously provided that he stays healthy.
Yeah, and they're getting some incredible bench play, too, from a couple of guys, too, like Grimes. Bond is playing pretty well right now, but Sixers are an exciting team to watch. They're not going to win the NBA championship, so don't get your hopes up. If you think they're going to win the NBA championship this year, it ain't going to happen. It is exciting basketball to watch. Hate to break it to you, we're not betting any smash burgers. No smash burgers on the line.
You should want to bet a smash burger on that. You might be able to sucker me into that.
I don't think so.
I
still owe you one yet. I still owe you a smash burger yet.
Yeah.
I'm still in debt.
Oh yeah, you are. You got one more. You got one more to pay off.
I got to use my holiday money to pay it off. My goodness, jeez.
Uh-oh.
Can't buy something I want.
Wait a second.
Can't buy something I want.
How much is it? It's a $10 special. It's not. Let's not act like I'm breaking the bank on you here.
I think it went up to $15 now. It's 2026. It's not 2025
Did it really?
anymore. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. JT, this is always fun, man. Another episode of Broad Street and Beyond is done. When we come back next week, obviously we'll recap all of the NFL playoffs, get you caught up on all the hockey stuff, and if anything else goes on, and even with the Philadelphia Phillies hiring, Don Mattingly as their bench coach now, which I think is a pretty good hire for the Philadelphia Phillies. We'd even tackle that. But if anything happens in the offseason here with the Philadelphia Fighting Phils, we'll bring that to you. And, of course, in 2026, we got all kinds of new guests, new lineups, and all kinds of stuff that we want to tackle here and take this next level. We do appreciate everybody checking us out here on YouTube, of course.
Yeah, so we got to find out. So today is January 6th. I was talking about this with someone in the office. Have we reached the expiration point where you're allowed to wish somebody a Happy New Year? Is January 6th too late? And if it's not, when is it too late?
You can do it till March if you'd like. Do it till March.
Do
it till March. Still the new year. Till the end of this month. Until the end of this month.
No, that's too late. But just for you, January 31st.
Yeah, why not?
That's too late. That's way too late.
I'll remind you.
I would say by the end of this weekend, all your Happy New Year should be out of your system. I think once you're a week into the new year, that's it. I mean,
does that mean I got to take my garden flag down that says Happy New Year at the end of this weekend? Can I keep that up a little bit longer?
Oh, no. You got to get that down.
I got to take that down, too? Oh,
hey, our Christmas tree has been taken down in our house.
Not mine.
We're undecorated, man.
Minnie Hopper's still listening to Christmas music.
Oh, really? What are you? You keeping it up till Valentine's Day? What are you doing?
Very well might. Very well might. I'm gonna put a JT ornament on it. I'm gonna put a JT ornament on it. Call my JT tree.
It's gonna turn into a Valentine's Day tree. I love it. I love what you're doing.
Be my Valentine, JT. That's what I like.
This is getting awkward. We better get out of here.
We got to get out of here. All right, folks. Till next week. We can't wait to see you again next week. Just make sure you like, subscribe, and share. Appreciate you checking us out here with Broad Street and Beyond. Enjoy all the games. Enjoy the playoff games. Until next week. We'll talk then.